talking about the post-implantation development. So far, we have studied that after the process of fertilization, that is the fusion of the male and the female gamete, the zygote is formed. This zygote then undergoes the process of cleavage and forms the stage which is known as morula. After the morula formation, the cells which are present, which are compactly arranged in the morula, will now move and form two distinct layers, that is outer layer and the inner cell mass, which will grow as an embryo. So the morula forms the blastocyst. Now this blastocyst has the cells which are arranged in two different layers and have a fluid filled cavity that is a characteristic feature of the blastocyst, that is known as blastocele. The inner cell mass will develop into the embryo. Now over here, the blastocyst, again the cells which are present, that is the inner cell mass, will again show the movement of the cells into three different layers, and that is what we call as gastrulation or the gastrula formation. So gastrula formation is a stage. Gastrula formation is a stage in which the layers, that is the three layers, are being formed. The outer layer is ectoderm. These are the three germ layers we'll be talking about. This middle one is the mesoderm, and the inside one is endoderm. So these three layers are being formed by the cells which are present in the blastocyst, the inner mass cell. That is, these cells will move, and that is what is known as morphogenetical movement. So these movements will ensure that the cells are arranged in three different layers. The ectoderm is the outer layer, the mesoderm is the middle layer, and the endoderm is the innermost layer. Now these three layers are also known as the germ layers. All the three layers will be responsible for forming various parts of the body or will form the organs. So if we talk about the ectoderm will be forming the lining of the alimentary canal, the salivary glands, and many more, the outer skin and all that. The mesoderm, on the other hand, will form various other important parts, and the endoderm will be forming the heart, the liver, all the other internal parts. So these three different layers will be showing various kinds of rearrangement of the cells, and that process is known as organogenesis, where the cells are arranging themselves in the formation of various kinds of organs. Now also, when we talk of the development of the zygote, there are few terms, that is when we are calling it the zygote to be developing as an embryo, and this embryo will be known as fetus later on. This is the terms which we are using after the fertilization. So the zygote is formed soon after the fusion of the male and the female gamete. The embryo is the period from the fertilization up to the 8th week of development. So embryo is from fertilization up to 8th week. Till then, we call the structure as embryo. From 9th week till birth, it will be known as fetus. So we have the zygote turning into embryo, and the embryo will develop into fetus. That is the period of the growth, and everything will form the complete individual, and the process is embryogenesis. So these are the various stages where after the fertilization, soon after the fertilization, the zygote which is formed undergoes various stages and finally forms the gastrula, that is the arrangement of the cells into 3 layers forming the 3 germ cells, and these germ cells will undergo the process of organogenesis by which they will be forming various organs. Also, there are, when we talk of the development of the embryo and the fetus, there are certain major highlights or major features which are taking place. As soon as the fertilization happens, within the first month itself, the first organ which is being formed is the heart. And heartbeat is the first trace or is a signal that the embryo is developing normally. So the formation of the heart takes place within 1 month and the heart starts functioning, the first sign of life. Then the limbs and the digits are formed by the end of the 2nd month. So when we talk of the formation of the limbs, the entire structure, that is the limbs, will be completed by the end of the 2nd month, and all of the organ systems, when we talk of the organ systems will be completed by the end of the 3rd month. So this completes your first trimester, which we call first trimester, and the movement of the fetus, that is the completely developed in a fetus, not completely, I mean the embryo, that will be shown. The movement of the fetus will be observed during the 5th month. Any period of time during the 5th month, the pregnant women can observe the movement of the fetus. Appearance of the eyelids, eyelashes and the body will be covered with very fine hair. The fetus is covered with a very soft hairs, and this is done or this is completed by the end of the 6th month. So these are various highlights, the major organs which are being formed and the major developments during the process of the development of the zygote into fetus. Then in the case of male, the descending of the testis and scrotum happens by the end of the 8th month in the case of males, and the fetus develops completely by the end of 9 months. So here we see that as the fertilization is happening right from the formation of the zygote, as it is being pushed through the fallopian tube, lands into the uterus where the implantation takes place. The implantation is very important during the this entire cycle of pregnancy, where the chorionic villi completely mixes up with the endometrium so as to facilitate the formation of the placenta. And as a result, after getting it properly connected, the embryo will start getting the nutrition, all the important nutrients from the placenta to the developing embryo through the umbilical cord, and as it will be growing, it will arrange itself from the morula to the blastocyst stage to the gastrula formation, rearrangement of these cells into 3 different layers, which we are calling it the 3 germ cells. Over here the germ cells are 3 in number, and these 3 germ cells will undergo the process of organogenesis so as to form various kinds of organs, and by the end of the 3rd trimester, the completely developed fetus is there ready for the delivery. That is what we call, by the end of the 9th month, the baby is completely developed and is now ready for the parturition process or the delivery. That is what we are going to discuss in the next video.